Welcome to Run With It, BC's only running, fitness and health program. On this month's episode, I was in conversation with Vancouver actor Jamie Callica, who shares how he stays fit. Back on the show, we have Dr.MarkWang, who talks about dental tourism, so stay tuned for that. But first, let's go to our interview with Kim Vopni, who talks about pelvic health awareness. Check this out. Joining me is a very special guest. Kim Vopni is the CEO and founder of Pelvienne Wellness Inc. She's the author of Prepare to Push, and she's here today to talk about the launch of her new program. Welcome to the show, Kim.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, so your online program is the Kegel Mojo Online Fitness Program.
Yes, it's an online pelvic floor fitness program.
So when was it launched, and tell us about the program?
Yeah, I launched about a month and a half ago, and it's something that has lived in my head for probably 2 or 3 years, and I just had other things that I was focusing on, and it just now, I had the time, and it was time to get it out and into the world so it could start helping women, because it's something, pelvic floor fitness is something that's not easy for people to admit they need, or they're not sure where to look. And putting it into an online program, it basically takes what women learn when they work with me one-on-one and puts it into a platform that they can access anywhere, anytime. And also, if somebody's feeling uncomfortable or maybe ashamed or embarrassed, they can just purchase it and they have it and nobody needs to know.
So this program is needed.
Absolutely. It's I mean, I've been working in the world of pelvic floor health for, really since the birth of my first son, which was 14 years ago. And at the time, social media wasn't really around, so it was difficult to find who was talking about what anywhere in the world. And in the last 3 to 5 years or so, there's been a huge spike in awareness. And I don't know if now, because I work in it and because the awareness has increased, I see that it's more common, or if it's just been that common all along. So it's hard to say what has come first, but it's definitely something that's on the rise. Again, maybe it's because I'm more aware of it and more people are talking, but over 50% of women have some degree of organ prolapse, where their organs are starting to shift out of their proper position. 1 in 3 women have some sort of incontinence, which is when you leak, when you laugh or cough or sneeze, or urge incontinence, when you feel like you can't make it to the bathroom in time. And a lot of the issues that women deal with or suffer with or try to hide and kind of cope with are very treatable. And they think it's normal because they're older or because they've had children, but they're not normal. They're very, very common, but they're also incredibly treatable. And if women know about it earlier than later, there's things they can do to prevent it happening in the first place. So that's kind of what I really want to get out. I love preventive mindset, and I'm hoping that women don't wait until there is a problem. Mind you, it's there if they do, but if more people take a proactive approach to their health and their pelvic health, it will change many aspects of their lives.
Right, and it's getting more awareness out there, and also you are a pioneer, I would say. You are the vagina coach, and it's becoming more mainstream.
Vagina is actually one of the most disliked words in the English vocabulary. And I'm trying to change that, because it's a part of the body that we need to talk about and we need to normalize. And pelvic floor coach, it doesn't resonate as much because not everybody knows what the pelvic floor is, but pretty much everybody has heard the word vagina. So at least I'm bringing the attention to the part of the body that I'm trying to get women to pay attention to.
People look at your shirt and they think, wow, tell me more.
Yes, exactly. It instigates the conversation. It brings people to where I want them to be thinking. They need to incorporate their pelvic health in their day. So let's think about it. Let's think about our vaginas.
And you have in your hand the pelvic.
I've got a pelvis model here. So in here we have the uterus, and we have the bladder, which doesn't really look like a blue spiky ball. And then we have the rectum behind. And the muscles underneath play a role in supporting and lifting and holding them in place. And wouldn't it be amazing if we didn't have to wear pads and mask it? Wouldn't it be amazing if that leak didn't happen in the first place? Wouldn't it be amazing if we enjoyed sex again, and how that would change all the other aspects of our life?
Yes, and it's never too late. It's better to recognize there is a problem.
It should be standard of care that women receive pelvic health physiotherapy, and especially women who are pregnant and who have given birth. It should be standard of care, and it should be covered by the government, in my opinion, because it is something that we need to pay out of pocket for. And women who are really good at putting themselves last will take care of everyone else, and then that cost is something they're not willing to pay for themselves. So I really would like women to hear about this information before they're even pregnant or when they're pregnant, so they have an opportunity to potentially prevent or mitigate some of the issues that are very common afterwards, but also that women have access to the professionals like pelvic health physiotherapists. And as you say, it's never too late. So even if you're thinking, well, I had my babies 20 years ago, or even if you've never had babies and now you're in menopause and things are starting to change.
Kim, how does it make you feel? Like, you're an author, speaker, motivator, pioneer. How does it make you feel to inspire, empower women?
I feel proud. I feel honored to play a role. I feel incredibly humbled, I guess, that when somebody has had a good experience and it's changed an aspect of their life. It's why I'm doing what I do. So I know it's working, and I'm also proud of them because they have taken the steps and they've invested in themselves. They've put themselves first and they've done the work. And Kegel Mojo, there's exercises, there's workouts, there's education videos. You have to do what is in the program.
And the program that you offer has educational videos.
The videos I'm teaching about exercise, about movement, about what might have contributed to some of the challenges other than pregnancy and childbirth. I talk about, or I talk with other experts in the field. There's a urogynecologist. There's another woman who's dealing with pelvic floor dysfunction and how she lives with it and what she has changed in her life. I have a yoga professional who's also a physiotherapist. So there's a bunch of other people who've contributed to it as well, because there isn't just one solution. It's often multimodal, and I want women to be aware of all of the different treatments or therapies or movement practices that can benefit them.
Where do you see yourself in 2 years? So this online program, you want to reach thousands of people. That's your objective.
I would love for this to reach everywhere in the world, and for it, again, I want it to become normal. I want it to become everybody, we get gym memberships or we try the new, latest and greatest fitness craze. I'd like something like pelvic floor fitness and Kegel Mojo programs to be there as just something to add on, and it's not taboo. People don't have to hide.
So there are benefits for a runner too, right? Mm-hmm. That will help.
I have a client who I worked with recently. So she's had irritable bowel syndrome for about half of her life. And she got pregnant, she had her first child, she had a very speedy, didn't go as planned birth, and was having some issues afterwards with continence. Her bowel control had become a little bit worse. She was a runner. She ran every single day, and what she was finding is she was now running inside on a treadmill wearing Depends because she just couldn't make it to the washroom in time. So I worked with her, and in 4 sessions it was over about 2.5, 3 months or so, she was still running at home because she just psychologically hadn't built up her confidence yet, but she was running out of Depends and she had much more control. And she said, I run faster and I run stronger than I did before I was even pregnant. And that's the beauty. When you can build strength and coordination in your center, in your core, because the pelvic floor is part of the core, it will make you can lift heavier, you can move with more ease, you can run faster, you can run farther. Hip pain, knee pain, often those are associated directly with the pelvis.
Kim, what is next for you? You have a lot going on, but what is any other projects?
I'm thinking about creating some sort of almost like a membership, and it would be called a Kegel Club, and people would be able to have new monthly workouts. So what's in Kegel Mojo will remain obviously in there, and that doesn't change. But if I can give people a little bit more dynamic options, I guess, in a monthly program, I'm thinking about that. So that's kind of in the works, and now I just kind of have to settle. I think the last few years I've been writing books, I've been out speaking. Speaking is something that I will absolutely continue, and it's one of my biggest passions. Teaching courses in my other business, Bellies Inc, and just trying to get the word out there.
If people want more information, where can they go about the program, about your books?
Vaginacoach.com is the best way to reach me, and that funnels you everywhere you need to go. There's products, there's services, there's blogs. You can find me on Instagram also at Vagina Coach, and that's where I share daily exercise and kind of motivational tips as well.
And thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate being here. I appreciate your time.
And we'll be right back after this break.
Joining me is family dentist Dr. Mark Wang, and he's here today to talk about dental tourism. Welcome to Doctor's Corner.
Well, thank you, Christine. Nice to be back.
Yeah, it's good to have you back. And dental tourism, what is it?
Specifically, it's people that actually venture outside the country to get their dental needs met by other dentists in other countries.
Is it a new industry?
I think it's been around for the last few years now. I think with the cost of dental care in Canada, I think people are seeking alternatives to have their needs met outside the country.
And so would you say like every year since the past 3 years have grown, like more people are going to get dental work done?
It seems to be. I mean, with the presence on the internet, there's companies that advertise to have to come visit our country and then come get your teeth worked on. Countries such as Argentina, Mexico, or even places in Southeast Asia as well. So.
It sounds like a booming industry.
It is. It can be quite lucrative. I mean, people are actually going to these other countries to have very complex procedures done.
But is it like, for example, would people go to see you to see what kind of work needs to be done, and then they would go like to Mexico to get the dental
Of course, people come in and shop around for things like that there too, and they'll come and get an estimate from me, and they'll look at it and they say, okay, well, gee, I can go to Mexico and get this treatment done and get a holiday at the same time.
Like going to a running destination.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But are there any risk involved?
I'm sure that the clinicians that people will see in these countries are qualified. They do a nice job. I've had patients in my own practice come back having work done elsewhere, and most of it actually looks quite good. The problem, Christine, is when something doesn't go right, and now they're looking to me to help them.
So would you help them, or would it be?
That's a tricky subject right now, and generally speaking, from what I've seen, I've actually, as long as the patient's not in pain, I've actually referred them back to the original place that they had the treatment done. And I think that's one of the drawbacks or pitfalls behind dental tourism or medical tourism, for that matter too. Is it's great when everything works out and everything is fine, but when you have complications and things don't work out the way patients expect them, then they run into some issues there and problems arise.
Right. And Dr. Wang, would you, like, if you have like not a severe dental work to be done, but a simple procedure, then the risks they're lower.
Absolutely. But I mean, most of the times people go on holidays and places like this for more complex procedures done that are that are significantly more costly to them here in Canada, but at a reduced rate in these other countries.
And Dr. Mark Wang, what kind of work would that be? Like, root canals?
Something even more complex like that, Christine. More often prosthetic procedures where people are actually missing teeth, crown and bridge work, dental implants, things like that. People that are missing multiple teeth, where treatment actually costs several $1,000s. Those are the things that people are actually going elsewhere to have done at a reduced rate. We're not really seeing people with very basic needs, fillings, root canals, things like that. People will actually take care of that close to home, but it's these really more costly, complex procedures that people are opting to have done elsewhere.
And what tips or advice would you give to someone who is not, they haven't made up their mind, but they're thinking about it, getting, cosmetic dentistry?
Sure. It's like anything. I would say caveat emptor. Buyer beware. It's you get what you pay for, basically, right? It's great that you can have the service done elsewhere. I'm sure that the dentists that would provide them to you in these other countries are qualified to do a great job. The problems again arise when something doesn't go right and complications arise, and now the patient is back home wondering what the recourse is, or what action could they take to help repair whatever situation has arisen.
Mm-hmm. In your opinion, what is the target market? Like seniors, all ages?
I think there's really no target market. It's really all people from all ages and all demographics and all backgrounds, basically, right? I mean, everybody wants their best bang for their buck, and some people will opt to venture elsewhere to have things done strictly because of cost. Some patients that come in to see me that have had this done are from these countries originally: India, Thailand, Argentina, Mexico, places like that. So they'll go home and they'll figure, well, we can go visit some family and get some dental work done at the same time, right? Unfortunately, there's one fellow in my practice from Argentina that has had some stuff done there, and he's had some issues with it. But again, as long as he wasn't in pain, I refuse to treat him, only because once I get involved, now I own the problem, and I didn't do the work in the first place. So I feel that it's not up to me or my responsibility to do that. Again, as long as he's not in pain. If he's in pain, I will certainly address that to the best of my abilities. But when it comes to trying to fix other things that they've had done elsewhere, I usually refer them back to the original doctor that did that.
Yes, and it's more of an issue of saving money and taking a trip in.
Correct, absolutely, and those are the two reasons why people would probably be the reasons why people would venture to explore an avenue like this.
Yes, and Dr. MarkWang, thank you for coming on the show. And if people want more information, where can they go?
They can come to my office in Burnaby. It's Greystone Dental Clinic. I can reach at www.greystone.dental.ca.
Thank you very much, and we'll have you come back.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Christine.
And we'll be right back after this break. Joining me is a very special guest, Jamie Callica. He's a Vancouver-based actor, and he's here today to talk about his successful career and how he follows a healthy lifestyle. Welcome to the show, Jamie.
Thank you very much.
Being an actor, I mean, it must be busy, like hard sometimes to follow a healthy lifestyle.
So it's difficult, and what I do personally is I'll just munch on nuts quite a bit so that I never really get terribly hungry, and then at least that way I'm not starving and then cramming as much food into my stomach at lunchtime as possible.
And you started in the entertainment world as a professional dancer. How did that come about?
From young, I danced a little bit, so I took the technical training, jazz, tap, etc. But then after a few years of it, I actually fell away from dance and went to sports. So I was a big martial artist. I ran track for Team BC, Team Canada, and then one day I was actually modeling in a fashion show. After the fashion show, people just hung around and danced and whatnot. And a couple of the girls that were dancing that opened the show, they were like, "Oh, are you a dancer?" And I said, "No." They're like, you could be, you should be. And then I started taking class with a couple of them.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I started training. I was training every day, 5 days a week, got as much as I could do in, and it went well.
Well, tell us the level of intensity, like to be a professional dancer. It takes discipline. You're an athlete. You're a true athlete.
Yeah, you're an athlete.
But what type of workouts would you do?
I mean, when I started, so I would have been about 17 or 18, and so which by all accounts is starting, because I was 6, 7, 8 when I started the first time, but then like I said, I went away from the dance and I was doing a lot of sports. So to get back into it at 17, 18, I was there every day. So I was at the studio taking multiple classes a day. 2 or 3 classes almost every single day. Almost playing catch up for like the years that I hadn't done it. And that was it. It was just, I wanted to do it, I loved it, and then I just spent all of my free time in the studio.
Well, you have the best of both worlds. You are an actor and a dancer. And congratulations on your role as a hottie dancer. Tell us about that.
Thank you. Yeah, it was really cool. I was in India, and my agent's assistant emailed the audition request for me to put it on tape. And I hadn't had a vacation for some time, and I responded saying, I'm only here for a few more days. If they have a callback, I'll be back. Maybe casting can bring me in for the callback at that point. But I think I'm gonna pass on putting this on tape. I just want to enjoy this vacation time that I haven't had for so long. And then my agent messaged almost right away saying, "Hey, buddy, they really want to see you. Can you please just put something on tape?" So I did, and got back, landed to tons of emails and texts and missed calls where the casting director in LA wanted to see me dancing. So then I was actually in the airport, fully abandoned all my bags, just to basically sit on my phone and try to find footage from other movies or television shows or just material from class that I had to send to my agent to send down to casting. So from the airport, it took about an hour, sent them some stuff for me dancing. And then I think it was the next day that we got the call, that next day or the day after that I booked it. So it was cool because, any opportunity that I have to dance now, even though acting is the focus, I love it because that was the first love. And it was a lot of fun being able to play Xavier.
It just aired recently.
That's right, yeah. So the episode 3, you saw me. It was a little clip of me. Episode 4, you really meet my character, and yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. There's more of me to come. I was happy with it. Sometimes I've watched things and it's okay. Or my performance is okay. I was happy with this.
That's wonderful, and it is an easy transition from acting to dancing.
I mean, it can be. Yeah, I know a lot of dancers that can't act, or try to act and just can't. And it's a different beast because dancing, it's way more physical. So a lot of times, there have been some very successful transitions for dancers into the world of acting. And they probably took a lot of class, and they have the talent, but acting is as much as it takes a lot of you physically to be the repetition of your dialogue, to be on set for 12-13 hours every single day. They are still quite different because you could have full control of your body and all the technical training to be a fantastic dancer, but not know how to walk and talk and land on a tiny green dot that you're not supposed to look at while delivering dialogue, or like churning butter, So as much as they're similar, they're very different.
And I know
it is very hard to do. Like I learned that on my very first acting credit, like walking and talking is substantially harder than you think. And I remember just walking, and then they had to cut because I forgot the dialogue. And then I remember, like, the next take, I stood still and delivered the dialogue, and they were like, "Okay, cut. You got to walk and talk." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right." And walking and talking is hard, especially when it's not just original thought, right? You're reciting lines for this character that someone else has written for you, and oftentimes there are moving lights with you, or somebody's walking with a bounce. There's all these other distracting factors around you that make something as simple as walking and talking super challenging.
Yeah. It's harder than...
It's way harder than it looks, yeah.
And tell us about some other roles, like House on
Holly Lane, yeah.
And Secret Millionaire.
Yes. So The House on Holly Lane, I just wrapped on that. It was directed by Michael Scott, whom is one of my favorite directors to work with. He's so nice. He knows exactly what he wants. He's decisive. Anybody that works with him works really well. He's one of those directors that people want to work hard for and get the job done efficiently. So shout out Michael Scott. And yeah, I play a doctor named Jake Allen.
Wow.
And I live in a town called Kirkwood Falls, and where a lot of people tend to grow up and move out of this small town and move to the big city. But he was inspired by someone in high school, whom later on is my love interest in the movie, to stay. And he stayed, and he works in a little town in the hospital, and he volunteers for Doctors Without Borders. So he's that nice, wholesome guy, but he still is quite funny. And it was great. It was great to play a doctor.
There's Secret Millionaire too, right?
Yes, yeah. So The Secret Millionaire, played a character named Jared, and he's the best friend to the actor's name is Stephen Lund. So in the show, we're best friends, and I'm that best friend that's always around, always in his fridge, eating his food. It's really nice. It premiered in the States in January on the Pixel Network, and now it's going to be picked up or distributed on a couple other networks this year. And again, Michael Scott directed that. That was the first time I worked with him, actually. But it had a great cast. And yeah, it was really funny. I was the comedic value in the movie. So I was really nervous with that one, because if I had fallen flat, the movie would have lost a lot of the comedy. So because I do a lot of dramas, and that was my first movie where I had to be funny.
You're the face of Samsung.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm one of them. Yeah, I am I'm one of their #1 brand ambassadors and influencers in Canada, which is great because I love their products. And it was really easy when they approached me to, become an ambassador for them because I actually love the products.
That's wonderful.
So it's so easy it's so easy for me to push it when you love it.
So what is next for you, Jamie?
Just keep at it. Pilot season is pretty much coming to an end right now. It was really busy for me. I had a great pilot season. Last June, I signed with my manager, Link, in LA. So they've been getting me a ton of really great auditions and basically introducing me to the LA market beautifully.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And we'd like you to come back.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, let me get the next show I get, I'll be back. We'll talk about that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we'll be right back after this break. Before we go, you might want to check out the March and April edition of Impact Magazine. There are some upcoming runs that you may be interested in participating in. Thanks for watching. If you have a question or comment about today's show, go to our website on the screen. Until next time, run with it. Run With It is sponsored by BC Sports Hall of Fame, Central City Brewery, Hype Hair, Mallory's Fashion Network, and Skechers Performance Canada.